Good afternoon and welcome to our Tech Bites Lunch and Learn. Here today we have Amber Richmond doing Microsoft Word. What are the notes? I have my notes, I'm sorry.
Fonts and Format Painter.
Fonts and Format Painter. Yes. I was thinking bullets. I did bullets. The Font and Format Painter. Yes. So let's go ahead and pass this over to Amber.
Thank you, Daniel. So today I'm going to be showing you all about fonts in Microsoft Word, and not only Microsoft Word, but all the Microsoft products. It's pretty similar throughout all of the platforms. So yeah, we're going to go into detail on how to use fonts and how to use Format Painter. And then at the end, I'm even going to show you how to bring in custom fonts. So without further ado, up here on our Home tab, there is a whole font section here. So these are all the tools you'll need to change the fonts and the way that your lettering looks in Microsoft Word. So I'm just going to pick my title here of my article. And Daniel, you can see my Microsoft Word screen. Okay, right? Okay, just check in. Okay, so if I click this little drop down here to the caret, there is a bunch of different fonts. If I have one in mind, I can actually start typing the name of it. Let's say Times New Roman, that's always a popular one, and it will actually pop it in, and I can just hit enter and that will change it to that font. If I want to look through them, it'll show me a quick preview, and if I hover over them, it'll even show me a preview on my window. And then when I find one I like, all I have to do is click on it and it will change to that font. Next to it is the font point size. So you can go over it again, you can hover over it and it'll show you a preview and you can pick one. If the number you want is not big enough, you can actually type whatever number you want. Say I wanted 112, make it really big, and it will change it to that size. Now over here, we do have a little up and down caret next to the letter A. When I click up, it's going to take it to the next size up. And when I click down, it brings it down a size. So that's an easy, quick way. If you don't want to go in and figure out what the sizes look like, you can just make it a little bigger or a little bit smaller right here. All right, so that's most of the things on fonts. The next one is to change the letter case. So you'll notice with this font, they're all capital letters. So if I come in here and I say, no, I want sentence case, and with certain fonts that doesn't work, but because this font, for example, only has capital letters, but if I go into one that has lowercase and uppercase, and I go into this, and let's say I do want it to be all uppercase, I can click that and it'll make them all uppercase. Again, I could do toggle case, which will make the capitals, it just kind of toggles them. And then if I do, that takes the toggle case takes the first letter and makes it lowercase. If I want to capitalize every single word, I can do that there. But if I want regular sentence case, I can just click that. So I know sometimes, especially like in PowerPoint, when you go to type in your titles, it will do all uppercase. And it took me a while to figure out how to make it back to sentence case when you don't want all of the capital letters. So that's how you do it. It looks the same way on PowerPoint. So I'm just going to bring this in. Oops. And I just closed it. All right, we'll look at that in a second. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is right under our fonts here. So we have three options: bold, italics, and underline. So if I click bold, you'll notice that my title turns really dark. Shortcut keys for that is Control B. I can press Control B to toggle that on and off as well. We're going to use that on our like sentence headers, main ideas, topics, things like that. The next one is italicized, and that makes it slightly slanted. Shortcut key for that is Control I on our keyboard. And this is like if you're writing things for students and you want certain vocabulary words and things to stand out, then you can make them slightly slanted. It really works well in the middle of passages. If you want a word to stand out, it kind of makes it look a little different than the rest. And the next one is underline. If I want something underline, and this is great, you can choose this down arrow and you can choose how you want your underline to look. And you can even change the color of your underline if you want them to be different colors. And if you really want to customize it, you can click more, and there's a bunch of options here. You can change your fonts and everything. I'll get into this in just a second, but you can click more there to have different options. A lot of times when I'm filling out forms and things, and there's a line there that I have to type on, what you'll notice is it'll be like this. It'll have like, you know, address, and then it'll have an underline that you have to type on. And what I see a lot of people do is they'll type something there and it won't be underlined anymore. So again, you can just select that, click the underline, and it's going to put that underlined right there. Okay. The next one on our list here is subscript. You just click on that. It's going to put a little line through it. And the only time I've ever used that is when I'm, for me personally, is when I was marking up student papers and I wanted to say, you know, remove this word. I'll put the subscript in there. So I don't want to take out what they did, but I do want to mark that I wanted to remove that. Also, contract drafting, if there's something you want to get rid of, subscript might be useful. The next one here is subscript and superscript. So if you look, it has a little 2 and a little 2 up here. So you can see that in the subscript, think submarine, it goes below. The little 2 is going to go below. So if we had a periodic element like H2O and I wanted this 2 to go below, I could highlight it and click subscript, and it's going to make it small here. For the next one is superscript. So that's like if I wanted X to the second power, think super, it goes above, like Superman. We can click that and it's going to come up here just like to the second power. So those will come in handy if you teach science or math and need those exponents. All right, so the next one I want to talk about, these are my favorite. These are to make my titles really pretty. I can come up here and it's going to really do some special effects on my letters. Like this one, I could add a shadow below it. If I come down here, I can really customize them. So say I wanted an outline on these words, different color, or there's different types of shadows that I could add. I can make it have a reflection underneath. So you can see it has a little reflection here, makes it pretty. I could even make it glow if I want to get really creative. So that's my special effects. The next one is my highlighter. I can choose any color to highlight, click, and it's going to highlight that sentence. Again, you have to select the sentence first, and then you can choose your highlight. If you want to get rid of it, you can just simply come in here and put no color, and that's going to unhighlight. Okay, and then the next one, the last one here in our font section is our lettering color. So I can just select the letters and I can come right here and I can choose different colors for my letters. There are standard colors, but if there's a color that I want that is not here, I can click more colors. That's going to give me this honeycomb where I can choose different colors. If again, the color I want is not here, I can go to custom and I'm really going to see every single shade. So like, let's say I wanted this blue, but a little bit darker. I can then come over here to the right side and make it darker or lighter to get the exact custom shade that I want. If you know the RGB code, you can type it in here. If you know the hex code for the color, you can also type it in here. And I know there are websites that you can go to if you want a specific color to look up those hex codes as well. So once I get the color that I want, I can click OK, and then you notice that it is that color. And I can also do gradient colors if I want it to slowly go from one shade to the next. I can do that as well. So just some fun things you can do. If I click more gradients, I can really customize it. So let's say I don't want it to go from purple to white, but I want to change this color. I can click on this stop and choose my color. And now it's going to go from purple to blue instead of purple to white. I can also add more stops. Let's say I want it full rainbow. I can go in and I can add more colors in there and I can really get creative. And I know the rainbow colors are not in order. I'm just showing you. And then I can also come up here as well. And I can choose like what angle those colors go to and things like that. So I can choose how I want that gradient to look and change the direction of it, change the brightness, transparency. So there's all of those special gradient effects you can do. All right, so now I want to talk a little bit about our format painter here. So format painter is really cool because it's going to let you, like, let's say I really like the way this one looks, but I don't want to have to come down here and make all those custom settings again. I just want to say I want it to look like this. So I can actually click my format painter, and then I can click and drag and select what I also want to be the same color and just let go. And it's going to copy that formatting from the top one and put it on the next one. Okay, if I have a lot of things I want to format to this, but I don't want to have to click this every time, I can simply double click my format painter, and then I can go through and I can select multiple things to take on that formatting. And then I just unclick it when I am done. So there's the gist of font and format painters. Next, I want to show you how it looks in some different apps. So let's start with Microsoft Excel. So that was it in Word. So you'll notice in Microsoft Excel, it's very similar. You can choose the fonts, the sizes, you can go up or down. Our fill color, that's like your highlight color that goes in the background. You can change your font color, same way, click more colors if you want to. You could do bold, italic, or underline. You still have these, some of the underline features, not quite all of them. The only new one here is that you can change the borders around your boxes in Excel. But again, we still have the format painter. So if I was to double click on that and I say I want to make this that same format, this the same format, I can just go through and simply click those to copy my format over. So very similar. Now, if I go to PowerPoint, it's very similar. Again, we select our font. We go to our font section in the Home tab. You'll notice that all of those are the same. I do have a shadow option here that I didn't have before. And I also have character spacing. This is going to add spacing between your letters. They also have that in the advanced options in Word. I'll go back and show you those now. But again, I still have my formatting painter. So again, I can double click that. And if I want to say match my formatting on certain things, it's easy to do. Okay, so now let's talk about our more advanced font options. So we have our little paragraph dialog box here, or font dialog box. I can click on that and that's going to give me a pop-up of more options for fonts. So again, I can see all of my fonts here and I can do the regular bold, italic. I can hold Control and select multiple ones if I wanted to. Sorry. I have my different sizes here. I can change my font color. So it's just kind of a window where I can see everything and change it all at once. And it's going to show me a little preview here of what it's looking like so far. I do have an advanced tab here. So if I wanted to scale my character spacing, the space between my letters, I can change those here if I wanted to. I can make them expanded. I can choose how expanded they are, or I can bring them back together. And I can also change some different settings on how they're spaced or styled here as well. Okay, and then you'll notice down here, I have a set as defaults box. So if I want to come into Word and have it be on a certain font and look a certain way every time default, I think right now I have mine set to where it goes to Calibri 11 most of the time when you go into Word, that's the default. But you can change your default setting if you want it to look a certain way by clicking this default button. Okay, so next I want to show you how to make your own custom fonts. There's a lot in here, but sometimes you just can't find the right one to give you that look you're wanting. So there's lots of websites where you can go to find fonts. This is one of our favorites, and Pristine showed me this. It has a lot of fonts. It's pretty safe to use if you're worried about viruses and things. But you can kind of come up here and find different ones. These are the new fonts. I can click all to see more. And there's a lot of cute little fonts. So let's say I wanted this one. It's really cute. Especially if I'm doing graphic design and things, I can simply click download. It's going to download that font. I can choose where I want it and hit save. And then you're going to see it download here. So if I go to my file explorer, bring that over here so you can see it. I did put it on my desktop, and as I can see, it's right here. So I will have to export the file first because right now it's a compressed file. So all I have to do is either left click on it or right click. I can click extract here, or I can right click up here and tell it to extract these files. It is going to bring a pop-up that looks like this and ask me where I want to extract that to. So I'm just going to put it on my desktop and then click extract, and it's going to extract it. All extract means is I'll have my zip folder, but then I'm also going to have this right here, which is the font taken out of the folder. Okay, so now that I have my font, I could click and drag it to the folder. So I could right click on my file explorer and open another window so that I have them side by side. Or you can simply right click on it and copy the file. Okay, once you have that copied, we're going to go to the Windows C drive and we're going to go into the Windows file. From there, you should see a folder named Fonts. So when I double click that, I'm going to see all of the fonts that I had in Microsoft Word. And from here, you can either click and drag that font to put it in, or if you copied it, you can just right click and paste it. And it's going to copy it into the folder. So let's look for it. So here it is, Christbell or Chrisbell, I don't know how to say that, but it is right here. It is now in the folder. So I can close that, and I'm going to go back to my Word document, and I'm going to choose my title here, and I'm going to look for that font that I just added in. So they're alphabetical. So I can come down here. It's right here, and click on it, and there you have it. I have that font here in my Word doc. So it's that easy to bring in your own fonts, to customize your fonts to make them look how you want, and to also use our format painter to change fonts in different areas of our Word documents. So does anybody have any questions or anything else they would like to add to this?
Those are all great resources, great tips and ways that we can jazz up our documents, and some fast tips to be able to do things a little speedier than repeating our measures back and forth. So thank you so much for showing us these in our Tuesday Lunch and Learn. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and hope that you will join us again for more of our Lunch and Learn or our Tech Bite sessions. So thank you again, and thank you, Amber, for sharing your tips with us today. We will see you all again real soon.